Hi guys, this is the first video for the year, and you should have your note packet out to note packet number 1, the very first page. It is on exponential notation. You'll see that at the very top. Now this first video is going to be a little longer because I do want you to watch this one with your parents or your grandparents or whoever, and I want them to understand also how we're going to do things this year, and how these videos work and how the note packets work, etc. So I'll take a little more time explaining things so that they can understand this as well. These are open to anyone to watch, which is a cool thing. And if mom and dad or grandma and grandpa or aunts and uncles or whoever wants to help you with any homework or studying, they can always sit down and watch these videos as well, which is another advantage of doing this. So if you look at your note packet, one thing to know, that the name of the video, this one is Exponential Notation, will match the name of the section we're on in the note packet. So if you look at your note packet, it says note packet number 1 right at the top, and right below that, underlined, it says Exponential Notation. So very easy to match those up. When you go to my YouTube channel or you go to the website, you'll look for the same name that the note packet has, the section that we're on. Alright, if you notice on the note packet as well, right underneath exponential notation, you have a little box. A lot of times I'll have on the note packet somewhere, either right at the beginning or right at the end, a little summation of kind of what we're doing today. And sometimes it's a little hard to read, and sometimes it's more, mathematical writing, and that's something that sometimes you have to read more than once to really get. And sometimes you'll say, oh, I'm not sure what that means, but after we do some examples and then you look back at it, you go, oh, okay, that's what that means. Alright? So I think exponential notation is one of those things. If you read that box at the top, there might be some variables or some notation that you're, okay, I'm not sure what that means, but after we do a few examples, I think it'll clear it up. So anyway, the idea of the note packets is that you have these examples. I have the first 4 in blue here, and then the next 5 in red. These are the same ones that are on your note packet. So what you do is you sit down in the evenings or study hall in school or what have you, and you have your note packet right there, and you fill in as we do these together. Alright? So when you come in the next day, you're going to have these all filled in. That is going to give you points towards your grade. Alright? If you don't have it done, that tells me you didn't watch the video and you still have to do that. So when you come in, if you don't have it filled in, the first thing I'm going to have you do is get a laptop, watch the video, and that is going to put you farther behind, because the assignment that comes with this you will have to do after you watch the video. You won't have the whole period to do it, therefore you might not get it done. Then you have to do that night, plus most likely another video. So you're putting yourself behind by not taking the 5 to 10 minute video watching each night. Again, this one is going to be a little longer because I'm going to explain a few other things that go along with this whole idea. Alright, so let's take care of these first 4. Exponential notation. I believe you have seen similar things before, but if you haven't, this is what we call expanded form. Alright, expanded usually means stretched out or bigger. And so this 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, that's written all out. Alright, there's nothing that has been abbreviated there. So I'm going to put it up right up here. This is expanded form, and please bear with my writing. I have to use a little tablet to do this on the screen, and it's not the most comfortable thing to do, so I do my best here. So this is expanded form. What we want to do is just simply turn this into exponential form. Alright? So here's what I do. I've got all these 5s. Well, these are in common. So I want to keep that 5, and we're going to call this guy the base. Alright? He is the base to my new exponential form. I'm going to write that right over here. Exponential form. He is the base to what this exponential form that we're going to put it into. He is the base of that number. All right, and then what I'm going to do is simply count how many 5s do I have. How many 5s am I multiplying together? Well, I just happen to have 5 of them. So in exponential form, this really is just that. All right, and again, I got these 5s. Those are all the common 5s there. That forms my base. And this 5 up here, this is how many times I am multiplying by 5. Okay, and that is called my exponent. All right. So some new terminology if you haven't seen it: base and exponent. All right, expanded form, exponential form, and really that's all I want to do with these first 4. I already did the first one, so you can fill that right in. All you have to do is write that right in your note packet. Okay. Same thing here: 9 sevenths times 9 sevenths times 9 sevenths times 9 sevenths times 9 sevenths. That is expanded form, or sometimes they call it standard form. All right, because that really is just written out like a regular number. But I want to put it into exponent form. All right, so the base is 9 sevenths. You see it all there every time, so that's going to be my base. All right, and now I need an exponent to go with it if I'm going to put it in exponential form. So I simply count how many times am I multiplying 9 sevenths together. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again. So my exponent, well, didn't change. So that is exponential form. Again, you have a base and you have an exponent. All right, and hopefully by simply those 2 examples, you should be able to do these others. We'll do them right away here. So negative 4 elevenths, we can do it with negative numbers too. That's okay. Negative 4 elevenths is the base, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and I think I wrote this down wrong. Your note packet only has 4 of them. All right, so the exponent here isn't going to be 5 this time because I only have 4. So this is going to be negative 4 elevenths. Notice I'm going to put this in parentheses because it's the whole fraction with the negative raised to the 4th power. Okay, and what about these negative 2's down here? That's example number 4. Let's see, there are 5 of them, and negative 2 is the common number, so negative 2 is my base, and it is raised to the 5th power because there are 5 of them. So a little summation here. This is expanded form. This is exponential form. This is expanded form, and they really mean the same thing. That's why I can put this equal sign right in between them, because they mean the same thing. All right, and this is, you kind of think of this as like a little abbreviated form of this. All right, so far so good, not too difficult. But we also want to do some other things. What if I give you the number in exponential form? I might want to know, what is my answer going to be? Is it going to be positive or is it going to be negative? All right. Well, let me switch colors here because I'm starting in red. I'm going to switch over to blue. There we go. All right. Well, if I were to write this out, and you know what? I'm going to get this other one out of the way. Let me erase this guy out of here. We'll add those back in later. All right, and let me switch back to my pen. Okay, so if I were going to write this out into, right now it's in exponential form. If I'm going to write this out into expanded form, well, here's my base, negative 3, and this exponent tells me I'm multiplying that negative 3 4 times. All right, and since there's a negative there, I want to absolutely use parentheses around my negative like I did up above, so that I know that the negative goes with the 3, excuse me. So I've taken exponential form and I've just did the opposite of what I did up here. I just turned it back into expanded form. All right. Well, if I take negative 3 times negative 3, now we've got to remember back to last year in 7th grade when we said a negative times a negative is a positive. All right, so I'm just going to go left to right. That's what my order of operations tells me to do. Go left to right when I multiply things, and I'm going to multiply these all together. So Negative 3 times negative 3, well, that gives me a positive 9. Alright, and I still would have, that just came from these two right here. I still would have these others right below. Okay, and then I'm going to take the next two. I'm going to take this 9, I'm going to multiply it by the negative 3. Well, positive times a negative gives me a negative, and 9 times 3 is 27. Alright, so these two gave me that. Alright, I'm just going to bring this negative 3 on down. Alright, and a negative times a negative, wow, it gave me a positive, and 27 times 3 every single time is 81. Alright, so what I want you to start to see is first how I did that. Alright, I just kind of wrote it out, and I had an even exponent to start, and I ended up with a positive number. Okay, and that's going to be important. Notice the little directions that are right above examples 5 through 9. They want to know whether the result is positive or negative. Well, in this case, the result was positive. Alright? Okay, so now we're going to try the second example down here, which is a little different because we have it raised to a 5, which is an odd number. Alright? So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to write this out in expanded form. And I'm going to do this one a little quicker since we already did the one up top. I'm going to write this out. And I'm going to have 5 negative 3's that it's being multiplied by. Alright, easy enough. And I'm going to multiply these all together. These still give me a 9. And I'm going to bring down all of the others. Now you can always use a calculator and do this all at once, but I'm just kind of writing it out for everyone to see. Alright, so I have that negative 3 times negative 3, and those give me a positive 81 times a negative 3, and this times this, positive times a negative always gives me a negative, and that is 243. Alright, now I want you to notice that this time it was an odd number that it was raised to, and we ended up with a negative answer. Okay, and that is not just a random thing that happens. Alright, notice each one of these is negative. These examples all start with negative bases, and the question that is right along the top says negative numbers raised to an even or odd power. Will the result be positive or negative? Well, what we had here in example 5 was that it was an even exponent. Alright, so even number as an exponent yields a positive result. And I think if you look all the way down at the bottom where it says conclusion, I had you guys change this in class, it should read, if a negative number, which is the base, is raised to an even power, which in this case is that 4, then the result will be, and you want to fill in the word positive right there. Okay? And the next one down says, if a negative number is raised to an odd power, that's the 5, then the result will be, and you want to put in the word negative. Alright? So there's 3 more examples there. I'll do them really quick. I'm not going to write them all out. Now that we have this rule and this rule, every single time that's going to happen. So in example 7 it says negative 5 raised to the 3rd. Well, I have a negative number raised to an odd power. That means the result is going to be negative. Alright? And if you want to write it out, it's negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5. And if I take a negative times a negative, I get a positive. I take that positive times a negative, I end up with a negative 125 as a final answer for that one. Okay? I'm going to switch over to a different layer here so I clear the deck and get that out of there. Alright, and the very last 2 that we have here, negative 5 raised to the 6 and negative 7 raised to the 95th. This is really the problem. This is why we talk about this, though. These are easy to do. I can write out -5 6 times and multiply it all out. It's going to get to a pretty big number. Okay, but what I'm after is it going to be positive or negative? Well, I have a negative number raised to an even exponent. I know my answer is positive, okay, by the rule that I wrote down at the bottom of the paper. All right, now with really big exponents, I do not want to write out -7 times -7 times -7 over and over and over and over and over and over 95 times. But I know that since it's a negative number raised to an odd exponent, I know my answer is going to be negative. Alright, by the rule that we put down at the bottom of the paper. Alright, so what happens is now you have your note packet all filled in. You're done for the night. If you wanted to, you could rewind it, go back and watch it again. You say, oh, I'm not sure how I got that one, or I'm not sure how I got example 2. You know, they're going to get harder as we go. But you can go back, you can pause, you can look at it, you can think about it. You go, oh, okay, that's what he did. All right, that makes sense. And then watch some more of it. Or you can go back and watch an example again if you didn't get it written down. You're too busy watching. I know you hang on every word that I say, but you can rewind it, watch it again. All right, and again, this is a little longer one because I'm trying to explain different things as we go. But now you have that all filled in. You come in tomorrow. One of the first things I'm going to do is check that you have them done. If you have them done and filled in, then you're going to get points. If you do not, then you're going to get you're not going to get those points, and that's going to hurt your grade. All right, so you come in, you have it done, you get, that's a good grade for you. All right, so then what you do is you take this note packet and you will then start the assignment that I hand out, which would be, your traditional homework that you usually would do at home. But now you're doing it in class. So you have the note packet right there next to you. The assignment is going to be just like these examples that we did. So you have the note packet right next to you. You can look at these examples again and go, oh, that's how I did that. And that will probably tell you how to do the first 5 or 6 problems on the assignment. And then these next down here will be like the next 6 through 12 or what have you. All right, and you'll probably have a partner or two working with you. All right, I'm there to help out as well if you're really in trouble, and I can go around and see how people are doing and such. Don't mind me, I'm just turning off and on layers over here. Okay, I'm going to turn that one back on. And so that's the way it's going to run. All right, and it really creates a more self-directed learning on your part. You're listening to the video, you're rewinding it, you're filling in the note packet, and then when you come in, if you're someone that can get it done in 10 or 15 minutes, then you don't have to wait for everybody else. You can then maybe help someone else. We might have little enrichment assignments, or you could start watching the next video and get ahead of things. Or if you're someone that maybe it takes you the whole period to do the assignment, but I'm there to help, others are there to help. You can really take your time and do it well, and you're good to go. So then you hand in that assignment when you go, and again, that gives you more points, which is a good thing. All right, and then that allows me to look over what you did that day. Hopefully I can pick up any problems that someone may have, and I can talk with them the next day about those problems. So it really provides an immediate feedback, one-on-one to 2 or 3 people. I can gather up, say, hey, you guys had trouble with this, let's talk about this for a few minutes while others are working, and it really I think will be a good thing. So like I said, this video a little longer than others. Hopefully everyone understands what's going on, and shout out to moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas and everyone. If there's any question that you have about this, or anything at all, any help that you want, just drop me an email. I'm going to write it down right here. You can always go to the website and get it that way. If you don't have email, I really do try to get right back to people within a day or two. We're all real busy, but right there's my email address, so you can pause this and send me an email if you need to, or just give a call to the school and leave me a voicemail or what have you, and I'll get right back to you. So hopefully this was a good intro. The videos, I definitely try to keep them at the maximum 10 minutes, and hopefully this will be a good thing. All right, and we have a good year. So take care, and we will see you guys tomorrow morning.